I am live, officially live, I think. Hi guys, it's Alan. It's been a while since I've done, probably about a month at least, since I've done an actual live stream. I wonder if I should get a better lighting system. I don't think that's very. Let me get one real quick. Let's see if that'll help a little bit. There, that's a little better. And my thing is about directed energy weapons and about Havana syndrome. When you are a target, see, I didn't know for 30, shit, it happened in broke my arm in Dallas, Oregon after a football practice. And within a few months, I noticed my side here started to really bother me. And my arm was fine. My shoulder, they did a good job. But I kept on, for 30 some odd years, and I had to go on pain meds. And of course, the thing is, you never want to accuse somebody of something if you don't know. You really want to know, especially, but when you do know and realize, God, they really did this. The hometown that I'm born in, or not born in, I was born in San Diego near Camp Pendleton. But that they put you in a government torture program. And it took 30, I didn't understand. I just knew I was always in pain. I didn't know what caused it. Now I know it's directed energy weapons, Havana syndrome. And the government keeps on every few months was having FBI or CIA people getting attacked with these FBI. They were saying it's Havana people, then it's China people, Chinese people, then it's Austria in Vienna, always Americans. I think maybe a couple Canadians too. But just getting hit by these, and they had to retire and get hit. And the worst part, it's like wireless technology. It's the weirdest thing when you're a TI. When you are a TI and you have voice to skull, you now look at TV and you realize how full of shit they are. And it's kind of like if you're conservative or liberal, going back and seeing a politician say one thing one year and then saying the exact opposite of what they claim to believe in 2 years before. And they do it Republican or conservative. I was watching a CNN. It's on my YouTube. CNN showing a thing about mind control and these type of weapons, microwave. I don't know if it's psychotronic, but it's a CNN show from 1985. And you can see it on my thing. It says there's playlists, but then it's all playlists or created playlists. They did something to mess with it to where I now have to push all playlists or create playlists for my entire thing to come up. And I'm not a techie. I wish I knew how, but maybe it's also not real smart on that. I spent my life studying religion and apologetics, not technology. Religion, humanism, all these different apologetics, Christian and humanist apologetics, freedom from religion, because I wanted to get to the truth, but I still believed the fine-tuning argument and free will shows a dualism or a soul. And it's just most humanists kind of really are into free will, because freedom from religion, freedom of thought, free thinking. Anyway, they believe in free will, but now there's a big thing about, with Sam Harris and all that, about denying free will because that points to a form of dualism. Science is by its nature cause and effect, cause and effect, cause and effect, and science and neurology has to be cause and effect, even if you throw with the quantum physics stuff of indeterminism. Indeterminism is just a jerking phantom. It's like a phantom limb that just jerks, That's not free will. Anyway, I'm going off on the thing there. It's philosophy and theology. But it's weird when you come from a religious conservative town that you can see the thing like growing up, and you see them how much they despise liberals or Democrats, and they talk about an Obama kill list, an Obama death panel. And then it's like, well, you didn't know at the time if that was true. And then when you're a TI and you just know you're in pain, you don't know if you're on you don't know what to make of it. You don't want to slander anybody. You don't want to go and call a politician a mean name, or doctors or politicians or anybody. But when you have V2K and you find out what V2K is, it's not just, hearing voices. Once they made this technology knowing that you're going to go up to somebody, hopefully from their viewpoint, and say, hey, I'm hearing voices. That's what they're looking for, hearing voices. And you can be a decent person, never hurt anybody. I know in my own self, I never did. I would look for any pimple to pop, as far as if I had hurt, reminisce with some OCD, even just scruples. Did I make sure you don't, be nice to everybody? It doesn't matter race, religion, or age, be respectful to everybody. And I was most friendliest in my class of 89 for men, for guys in my high school. Most likely to be teaching creationism. And I broke my arm in football, and they still did this to me. I went to Bible college, and they were torturing me there, and I didn't know what caused it. I just know you double over in pain and your heart area, and you're doubling over, and you just don't know what it is. You just know you're doubling over in pain. It happens. And it started like a few months after my operation to fix my shoulder. And it wasn't for 30, it was like, I was 45 at the time. And then they started doing it again. Yeah. I mean, they did it all the way through, but they started doing this thing with voice to skull. Doing this, they started fucking with me again, but in a different way. It's like voice to skull, but it was like these sounds that were really kind of soft, but you could hear them, no problem. You definitely know it's there, but it's like you're wondering, is that loud enough to be on a recorder? But anyway, you can hear them, and you didn't know there was a name for it, or there's a program. You just know, and people are holding their phone up to you and getting your, trying to see your reaction. And first it was, I'd go out for a cigarette in my backyard, and you can hear a shutter of like a camera shutter. And then people were doing this, looking at you. And then some cop did that, just looked at me and started hitting his steering wheel like I did something, then turned around. And I didn't know any police, didn't get never got asked about anything, or just, never, they were okay in my book, I think one time one asked a landlord, and I said, no, come on over, it's fine. And just like that was it. Nobody came over for anything. I didn't realize all those years of being in pain and just studying religion and theology and humanism, and then going to work as a CNA. And never heard anybody got in trouble, or no drama, always respectful, very good worker. And then all of a sudden this shit happens from this very conservative religious town, chanting, drain the swamp. Don't we all know that? When you are part of this program, you really do realize just how full of shit the people in your town really are. They can talk, they can talk a mile a minute, what glorified. And it's not like they did, like a drunk driver can have a bad night, can do something stupid. That can happen to anybody. Do something stupid, or get drunk, or do a drug and have sex or something. But this is not like, an accidental. This is literally part of a thing of torture, trying out their technology to torture, and then covering it up, taking the money for it, from the government, knowing the government is going to, protect you or have their back, and all this drain the swamp talk while they are taking federal money. And ironically, President Obama put in charge Amy Goodman and Dr. Fauci's wife, Dr. Christine Grady, to be part of the bioethics, which is, it's not a legal, it's a moral commission to see if it's right or wrong to experiment on people, to torture them. And in 2011 and 2012, I believe it's on my YouTube, I know it is on my YouTube, the White House 2011, 2012, and 2012. I'm not sure. One's, I think, is in Washington, D.C. The other one's in New York, but they're both the White House bioethics, to interview people who have complaints or, feeling that they've been experimented on, tortured. And some people have off themselves. They couldn't take the torture anymore. And it's the exact same torture as what is now known as Havana syndrome. The exact same thing. And they've been doing this. In 1995, Bill Clinton admitted and apologized how the United States, used to experiment on its own people. And he's admitted, and he talked about some cases and how it was wrong even at the time. And some weren't too bad, but some were definitely immoral from anybody's viewpoint, and to apologize for it. And to know that, and then 2011, 2012, they're still doing this. And it's just like, it's the same thing as Havana syndrome. Now they're going to try to reward the FBI people, which, I'm glad they're giving mention to it, the FBI people or CIA. But they're doing this to a lot of people. And they've been doing this. Like Robert Duncan in his book, The Matrix, or that's the first book, I believe, The Matrix. You can find it on PAX International. Hi, Home Slice. How are you today? How are you doing today, Home Slice? You doing okay? And just talking about the TI thing. And I was watching, a great thing to watch is Targeted in Massachusetts with Frank Allen. And they were talking about in how the torture over years has a tendency to literally siphon off, to see your emotions, how you think, and to siphon off your emotions. It is. Yeah, this stuff is tough. It's like when they hit you, and I remember, I don't know about you, Home Slice, but when I did, it was always hit right here, and then V2K, and then I was starting to get a few little extra things, but I would hear other people. Oh, thank you. Yeah, you're a good person. I've seen some of your stuff before, just, in chat rooms, and it is so eye-opening. And for me, I don't know about you, but to go 30 some odd years and not know what caused my side pain. You always have this side pain too? Okay, yeah. It's the worst thing to not know what it is, to go to specialists, to have, doctors send you to specialists. And then, at least in my case, that made it pain, which is wonderful they did that. I'm very thankful they did that. But it's the realization that I didn't have to go through that pain in the first place, and neither did these other TIs. It's just somebody in a hospital somewhere got offered a bunch of money in a federal program to take how many of their patients to be tortured, and that the government would keep it quiet. And they said yes. They didn't do it to their own child, of course. They did it to some strangers, to torture them, to go along with it, to take the money just like a swamp would. So, yeah, that's what Home Slice, is there anything that you like to do as far as they have different types of shielding? For other TIs, PAX International is a pretty good. I mean, they even have you can look at their shielding. You can buy their booklet, but they also show some things that have worked for other targeted individuals, from magnets to different, rubber, leather coats, rubber, this, or just a bunch of different things that could maybe work to help defeat some of these directed energy weapons. So you don't use anything. I wish I had something, but I'm willing to take anything. I know it's using like rubber mats or magnets in some way. And Robert Duncan, I'm the worst at tech and technology and science. A little bit I can, but it's just understanding the Robert Duncan type stuff, it's just too much for me. Understanding waves, scalar waves, wireless technology, even with computers. A lot of people understand computers, but when you get synthetic telepathy and voice to skull, and you start saying that they can read your mind, and Robert Duncan described it as it's using radar. And he was saying that it's a good thing they don't use electron spinning. I forget the term for it. It's not, they have EEGs, electroencephalograms, but it's a good thing. He described it in one of his books. That's a good thing they don't have electron spinning. Forget the name of it, because if they had this next to an MRI, then that by itself would illuminate the potential to read just miscellaneous people, to be able to read their thoughts from radar, because it lights up the little bit of energy it takes. And evidently it doesn't take tons of massive, like the amount on a digital watch is more power than it takes to actually do some of this technology. But to do that, and using a radar out in space and satellite, they can read it. If this technology was next to another technology in the hospital, again, something as amazing as reading a person's thoughts and their emotional states, and not just their states, but hearing the V2K actually say what you're thinking in private. You could be thinking about a cartoon, or Julia Stiles making meatloaf or something, and not talking about it. And then you can hear the V2K people saying, oh yeah, Julia Stiles meatloaf sounds good. And it is so weird, and it's designed to make you sound nuts. But the thing is that for me, it's like, if you don't get angry too much, because they steal a lot of your emotions. When they did it to my side, I don't know about you, Home Slice, it was literally, and is still right here. And it's like on Time, I don't know if it's Time magazine, but they were talking about our computers sentient. And I think on Targeted Massachusetts, some of the ladies were talking about this, that it feels like that they siphon off your emotions. Oh, are you listening to fireworks there, Home Slice? Yeah, I got a cat now. And so I know what you mean. I got we've only had it for less than a year, so this will be our actual first 4th of July. I believe it's been less than a year, but so when that comes up, it's going to be, yeah. We need some way to stop the feedback loop going to them, to stop them using the computer to see our thoughts. You know what's funny? I was raised like religious, and I actually was, it sounds a little arrogant, but I was actually pretty decent. I was always good and nice to people. Even I looked for some moral, like, why did I do something wrong, and why are they punishing me or hurting me, when I didn't know what was going on. And then, I felt bad, but then they freaked me out. I jumped out of a window and broke my leg, and then broke my arms when I landed, and I had to learn to walk again. And in this religious conservative town like Dallas, and I'm in Salem, Oregon now, none of them, with all this knowledge and all the money they took from it, all this drain the swamp talk, none of them came up and said, what we're doing is wrong, or it violates it totally against everything religiously we believe in, our ethics, our morals. Not one person. So how much of this is actually getting out to them, or if the fusion center is actually not allowing too many people to see this, we don't know. One time I remember they just, as you know, Home Slice, they screw with our technology and pretend to be people, people from they just mess with us. When we write something, sometimes they put it on, like if I was responding to Dr. LeGrand when he was talking about targeted individuals in Myron May and slamming it, like a lot of people were slamming because he didn't know what he was talking about. He was sincere, and there's a lot of smart people that say, no, it's psychological. And they are sincere, and they're very smart and eloquent. And when you're a TI with V2K, 100%. When you have V2K constant, they're just wrong. I mean, for all their intellect and all their knowledge on modern things and technology, they can even go to computer school and be smarter than you on this issue. But that it's just real. And when you got the Duncans and all the people at the White House 2011, 2012 course, the bioethics thing, and meeting other people at the 2019 rally in Portland. And it's like, no, this shit really is real. And then at the same time, Havana syndrome that they're not willing to talk about, even though there have been books written about this stuff for the last 40, 50 years. And all they have to do is look up Amazon or Google and look up these things like gang stalking, targeted individuals, voice to skull. There's just tons of books on this subject, and it's, to use a biblical term, they're being willfully ignorant. Who doesn't? I mean, I don't want to believe that people can know my thoughts or look at my memories. And I mean, from guys, what are they going to see? You're looking at a Playboy and what? Jacking it? I mean, it's just like big whoop. I mean, these are people literally torturing you. And a lot of them are conservative, religious people taking the money and going along. They're making a brand new torture technology to use against people and not to get caught with. And if they even do these experiments during that time, wondering, are they going to, like Nick Begich said, are they going to be able to just turn it off during the testing? Just turn it off during the testing so they won't be able to see the radio waves during, if it's 2 weeks of testing, are they just going to turn it off at that time? And they know they're doing it. Our police, our fusion centers, FBI, they know it's being done. They've been doing these stories for years. The White House has been doing the bioethics meetings they know it's being done. The military knows it. It's just, they are liars, and we know they're liars. It's just, but they're keeping this technology so to the vest, kind of, but we also have the patents for the technology. So it's just like, it's just, they don't care about it, it's just, but the main thing is, and I don't know what to make about, I'm just thankful that Dr. Matt and Ella Free was able to hold that thing in Portland. And the first time I was able to see that and meet people and to know what all those years of side pain, which I still have, is called and what's causing it. And it taught me how to look at the people from my hometown, very conservative, religious, tons of churches. And they just went along and covered. And I studied to be a minister myself. They were doing this to me in high school, in Bible college in North Dakota. And they were doing this doubling over side pain. And it's just like, but it's, it just opens your eyes to, because a lot of, especially if you're raised in conservative religious, they're so, and like I was raised, cop friendly, pro cop, police are good. And I never called them or needed their help for anything. So I kind of assumed the same thing. But then you find out that they're part of this. And then you realize through some of the things when they're going like this to you, and you didn't do anything to them, and they're trying to intimidate. It's like, what? So it's like everyone has been taught wrong. Exactly. I'm no genius either. There's so many smarter people out there. Then I'm surprised too that we're just kept held down. Took me years to figure out what's going on, and they try to blame it on other countries. Yeah, Havana syndrome, China. That 60 Minutes episode, and then the guy from the CIA finally had to admit, well, now we know it's real, but we know it's not a foreign country, which means, well, first it was supposed to be blamed on foreign countries, but now we know it's because out of pressure they insisting we know it's not them. So whether countries left, it's like 11 people, there's a murder, 11 people we know didn't do it out of 12 there. The 11 people who aren't, we know it's not those 11. So, we wonder who the remaining person is. What group's doing it? It's not a foreign group. So neon sign, it's us. It's the United States. It's on 60 Minutes, the guy from the CIA. And, the 60 Minutes lady was like, oh, it's you. If it's not a foreign government, that means it's you then, right? And it's funny, Fox News and CNN, it doesn't matter. I'm not trying to piss people off. Fox News was like, the media, they are, Fox News is the media. And CNN, the media, the liberal, well, yeah, they are both sides. CNN is genuinely the Democrat side of the ticket. And Fox News is the Republican, or now the Trump side of Republicanism, where that's going to go in the future. But it's just, that's what it is. It's a PR thing for both political parties. It's Democrat for CNN and MSNBC, and Fox News is Republican Trump base. Sometimes on independent news, there's more of a not trying to be one or the other, just an honest, and they can look at both sides, like Breaking Points, I think. But when I heard their interpretation, they just said, oh yeah, crickets chirping. Havana syndrome could be crickets chirping, and then laughing it off like they knew it was cricket chirping the whole time. And it's like, yeah, but it's not crickets chirping, it's technology. So to hit someone afar off like this, they are cowards, but there are good people still out there. It's just trying to get people to, yeah, it's true. There are, even in my hometown. I know it. I was raised and I never had enemies or people out there, but it's just to have something this evil for this long and this many years, a small religious town of 15,000 people with so many churches, draining the swamp, the whole bit, and yet they went in on this. They were asked to do it, told to do it, or whatever, and they went along and are covering it up. But of course, if somebody on the other political side was to do any kind of cover up or do something, they'd be right there jumping their shit about it. But they're doing torture to death, torture, hoping a person offs themselves to get rid of the evidence. That's how evil. If it was Muslims doing it, they'd be the first ones, those Muslims. Or if it was Catholics, those Jesuit Catholics. Or if it's Jews, or, they would claim anything. If it's Protestants doing it, well, there's some bad people in church. Well, it's like, no, it's also Protestants doing it. They want to blame it on Jesuits, and there's some in there. It's the whole, or Masons. It could be some of all of these groups. But when you're from a small religious town, that's a lot of them are Protestants too, going along with a bunch of torture for money, hoping nothing's going to happen to us. But at the same time, if people, and faith helps them, I encourage it. I definitely want them to, and I certainly would never want to, but it's just kind of an eye-opener thing for a lot of us. So trying to, we have to get this. Yeah, they use it in warfare, Kuwait, Gulf, in Syria. Yeah, I didn't think about that. Afghanistan, the voice of God weapon. on its own population. We've all been dumbed down on purpose. And yeah, we'll never give in to this. And stronger than that, at least knowing what it is and knowing there's other people out there that are going through the same thing and that just know what full of shit our leaders are. And they can claim to be as religious as this and that. And it's like they're purposely building up to a crescendo of a civil war. They were doing it during Trump. It's like CNN, a lot of its viewership left because there wasn't Trump to beat up anymore. So their viewership went down unless they talk about Trump or anti-Trump or Trump Republicans bashing. Then CNN gets its ratings back up. But Fox is the same thing. It's like people either love Trump or love to hate Trump. But us TIs, we just wanted Trump to do something about this program, or Biden to do something about this program. But I think both sides are just interested in getting an emotional thrill out of hating someone, which is, it's like Roger Stone said, hate is stronger than love. As horrible as it says, hate and anger, realizing what people have done to you, the wrong that you've been through, is an emotion. When you've been seeped of your emotion and you realize people from your hometown and the police were part of this, and you never had any enemies, you're just like, yeah, anger, and you have a right to be. I'm not going to do this 70 times 7 BS. 37 years of being hit with these directed energy weapons. I've done more than 490 times. No 70 times 7 here anymore. That's more than 490 days or 490, it's 2/3 of my life. So I'm not going to love my enemy. I don't want a person burning either in fire or some hellish belief like that, but I'm not going to love them. That's for damn sure. They don't deserve it. Even Jesus said they have to confess and repent, change their ways. So, and I don't mean the V2. I don't mean the V2, LOL. I don't mean the V2K. I mean that there are people out there going through the same thing. Should all be proud of ourselves for being this strong. That's true. I kind of wish we got rid of a lot of bad things from MK Ultra and all this, but I'm glad they were able to. And the CIA guy, Richard Helms, I think, Dick Helms, very staunch Catholic, the head of again, I'm not trying to be Catholic bashing, it's just, but he was trying to burn the papers from MK Ultra so it wouldn't get found out. So, the very strong religious type too, just like Bobby Hansen, the guy who sold all the secrets, very devout Catholic, Opus Dei even. And there are people, strong Protestants, and, doesn't matter if it's Protestant, Mormon, Jehovah's Witness, Catholic. There are people there that are just capitalists, and they're just ambitious, and they really don't care about right and wrong. They just care about their ambition, their wants. They will sleep with, protect. It's all about protecting those elite and pretending to do this opera, this right versus left for the TV. And, we hate those people and I hate that side. But when the cameras are off, they're all buddy-buddy with them, protecting it's like when the pandemic happened, none of those people warned their constituents about, hey, something's happening in China, and get some face masks, get some gloves. Nobody did it because they didn't know, they could have told people just to wear something, anything. But again, it's to protect the doctors. They could have told anybody. It's all about, but then there was a big fear as well. Is this virus, is the vaccine going to be part of this nanotech giving people this? And that's, again, they're not telling people anything. It's all about a cover-up. So it's all about power, and it's sickening. And the United States is selling this technology they're giving it to Japan, in Europe, Poland. So it's not like they're keeping it against some different. Russia's got it. They've been working on it. China's been working on it for 60 years too. So, hi, Kitty. And those people and the ones in power, we are the meek. Yeah, I don't really want to inherit this earth. So much for the Sermon on the Mount. I memorized that, and that was the worst mistake. Internalizing that, memorizing it. If someone sues you, compels you to go with them 1 mile, go with them twain. If they take away your coat, give them your cloak also. It's like, it's almost masochistic. Love your enemies and do good. It's just like, yeah, it's good to do that, but don't do it 70 times 7. That's for, turn the other cheek, but don't do it 70 times 7. Well, I got to go make my mom, it's almost 7:30, my mom some dinner. So I'll talk to you later, Home Slice, okay? All right. I'll talk to you again. Okay. Night, Home Slice. Bye, guys.